Biz.
That's right. This is the Biz with Ken and Liz. We are so excited to be here again this evening, again this week. This is 2 shows in 1 week, which is unusual. But we started.
Huge show last week. It was a huge show. We covered a lot of stuff, and that's why we're doing this other half, so that people get the whole deal. We didn't get quite to everything we wanted to do last week, and it was your idea to make a 2-part show, so let's get after it.
Absolutely. So on Monday night, our first show aired, and this show is all about getting into the biz, getting into acting and what to expect and the different types of acting, theater or on screen, commercials versus television episodic. What is an episodic? You know, the whole thing from vocabulary to looking for an agent to why would I need a manager, everything. So this half of the segment we're going to be going over, and this is not a limited list. We may expand it. Demo reels, on-set vocabulary, booking vocabulary, genre of acting. That's going to be a big topic.
Huge. That's
huge. Agents, managers, fees, necessary networks and their fees, union versus non-union. Huge hot topic question.
That's you and me both.
Right. And then I have the last thing on my list is ROI. What can I expect at the end of the day, either for myself personally, if I want to get into acting, or maybe you have a child and you're thinking, you know, this child, I think has a good look, is very precocious, loves the camera. I want to get him into the biz. What's your ROI going to be? It may surprise you. But first up, I want to give a shout out to our wonderful sponsor, and they are Pure Lift. Pure Lift is the clean caffeine, 0 calorie, all natural. I'm going to bring up their picture right here so you can see them and find them. They are available on purelyft.com. That's PURELYFT.com, as well as Amazon. I am beginning to see them in some big box stores as well, but they have a wonderfully clean taste. It's so refreshing. It's not bitter. You know how some of this caffeine stuff, it's great to get the boost, but it's so bitter on the back end, right, Ken?
Absolutely. I was really, I had a really busy day yesterday, and I knew today was going to be just as busy. So about 12 o'clock this afternoon, I had 1,000 things to do. I grabbed myself some tea. I put a Pure Lift inside of it, and I didn't feel sluggish when I got done with it. I got home. I got ready for the show. I'm comfortable. I'm not jittery. I don't feel like I'm going to crash. And the taste, there is no taste, and it's fantastic. If you get a chance to go out and get yourself Pure Lift, I think CVS has got them. If you've got CVS's around you, go to CVS, grab yourself some Pure Lift, or go to purelyft.com. It'll do you a world of good.
It really will. And you're absolutely right. They do have a wonderful, they have 4 different flavors. So they have one set that you can purchase that's unflavored, and it is truly unflavored. You put that into your bourbon at the bar and nobody's going to know where you got your buzz on top of the buzz. But then they also have orange, they have lemon, lime, and berry. And they're really good in smoothies. Last on Monday, I said maybe in coffee. You could try it. Especially the unflavored, pump a little vanilla in there, and it is really great. So thank you so much to our friends over at Pure Lift. Go give them a try on Amazon or purelyft.com. Now let's get into the show, Ken. Where do you want to go first? Tell us a little recap on what we did talk about.
Well, we discussed a lot about getting into the business and having, everybody can try to get in the business, but again, the business has to be in you. Getting in the business is one thing, but you have to get the business in you. You have to really want it. You have to realize that you're going to have to put in the work. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. You and I both know that. And a lot of people are like, oh, I think I could do this, or I think my kid could do this. I don't know a mother out there that, well, there's maybe 3% of mothers that are going to say, look, my kid ain't got no talent whatsoever. He's ugly. I don't want him. I don't want him. I'm kidding. There's not one mother out there that's going to do it. But for real, being totally, completely serious. If you truly believe that you have an outstanding child, that your child would be a better person for doing what you think that this is something that they really love, and you think that it would make them a better person and drive them and set a course for their life, yes, by all means, get them into it. Start with some theater, start with this. And, there's steps, and we went over those last week, and we'll go over a few of them again. But there's so much that we have to go through and go over. It's really hard to go all the way back to the beginning again. Now, most important is make sure that the business is in you, that you truly, truly, truly want to get into it, because it's not an easy road to hoe.
No, it's not. And we're going to get into that. And I think our last bullet point here on ROI is definitely going to shine a light on exactly what you can expect and what you can't expect. But I agree with you. So I want to say hello and welcome to everybody who is commenting. Please be interactive with us. Please ask questions. We'll be watching the chat both on YouTube as well as Facebook, because we are dual casting tonight. I also have the direct link. First time we are ever doing this. This is like we put on the brass set tonight, Ken, because we have the direct link into the show for you to pop in and ask us a question, and then I will very politely pop you right back out so that we can answer. Or you're welcome to type it into the chat section, and I'll see that coming in. So hello, Chris Kinsey. It is so nice to see you.
Do not be nervous. If you have a question for us, please do not hesitate to pop in. That's what we want. We want to answer your questions. We know that people have questions. We know that the dumb question is the one that is not asked. So do not fear us. We are people just like you are. There's nothing different except that Elizabeth is one of the most beautiful people on this planet, inside and out, and you got Uncle Fester on crack right here. So we're very approachable.
We are, and I don't bite on Friday nights, so it's a win-win.
Yeah, I know. only on the second Thursday of a full moon. Correct. I remember this.
Yeah. So let's get into our first topic of demo reels. We had left off on Monday. We had left off the first part of our two-part segment with auditioning, and we were talking about audition coaches, all that kind of stuff. So once you begin your journey, in my opinion, into acting, as we have walked you down that trail from the first part of this segment, now you come to demo reels. Ken, give us a definition. Maybe some people aren't familiar with what an actor's demo reel is.
Okay, a demo reel it's a lot of people say, I don't have a demo reel. Or, well, make yourself one. Well, I have never been in anything. Well, that's okay. It doesn't make any difference. A demo reel is just a video audition, a video sample of yourself doing what you feel is your best acting. So you take a camera like your camera phone, and you work on your scene first, and then you record yourself doing a scene as one character or as another character, and you can do 4 or 5 or 6 of them. Fortunately, I've had a few movies under my belt that this beautiful woman right here absolutely helped me put together, and put together an amazing demo reel for myself, which has helped me amazingly. And you can get people to help you do this too. But this isn't something that should cost you anything. You can record yourself doing little acts here and there, but it's an enunciation. Spit it out, Kenny. It's not yours. It doesn't belong to you. Enunciation, showing yourself, showing your character, showing your talent. It's just your calling card in the business.
I totally agree with you on it is absolutely your calling card. It's absolutely necessary to be able to make those next steps. You cannot get an agent or a manager without a demo reel, without headshots, without a resume. You can't go anywhere.
Well, it's a video resume is what it is.
It is.
Well, no, it's not a video resume. It's just a video the video calling card. A resume is just everything you've done. But your demo reel speaks so much about who you are and what your abilities are.
Absolutely. And I do want to make a point here, because I disagree a little bit. If you know the back end of the business just a little bit, if you know film editing, then perhaps you can compile your own demo reel. If you know already about production and lighting and sound and being able to get a good picture, then perhaps yes, you can put together your own demo reel.
Yeah, that's the point I was making. That's the point I was making. Everybody, most of the people say to me, I've never acted in anything. Again, that comes with experience. If you've done plays, if you've done, and you've got video of yourself, that's where you can edit it together and make your own. Or you take little excerpts from videos on YouTube or whatever you've made, any work that you've done. It's a collage of the work that you've done. If you haven't done the work, it's okay. You can do these yourself, but again, you've got to study. You've got to make sure the lighting is correct. Like this here, the shadowing here, you can't have that. It has to be professional.
You're absolutely
unfortunately, right. I'm not in a position tonight to do this because I'm doing it from my living room or from my dining room table, and the lighting is not exactly all that great. But we deal with what we've got, and this is not what we would call a demo reel.
Right.
But this is us basically just giving information to you. And listen to Elizabeth. She knows a lot about this. She has done so much more demo reels than I have ever done.
Well, it all comes from a lot of fails. We do have Jim Valente here standing by. So Jim, just stand by for just one moment. We'll be with you in just a moment. And then Michael Schwartz also has a question, but let me touch on this for just a moment. And then I'm going to go back to the questions and bring Jim definitely into the broadcast. So just hold on one moment for us. As far as the demo reels go, I do definitely want to make this point. When you're starting out, a lot of actors will just consume as many roles as you can get your hands on, and a lot of those roles are going to be free in the beginning because you need footage. So your first demo reel is not necessarily going to be with anyone notable, anyone recognizable, and a lot of time you're going to have to beg, borrow, steal, send a bottle of scotch, whatever you got to do to get that footage from production, because it's not easy.
No.
Or you can go a different way about it in the very beginning, and you can hire a production company that does just demo reel production. And what they will do, and this touches on Michael's question, which we're going to get to in just a moment, they will give you about 3 to 4 different scenes, and each scene is going to be dynamically different because they want to see, what are you good at? Are you one of those chameleons that you can carry comedy to love romance to suspense to action? Can you do all that? And if you can, that production house is going to say, okay, I'm going to give you these scripts, and me and my friends are going to work with you. Because the demo reel, you don't necessarily need a ton of people in the scene because it's really only supposed to be you. And It's very much like the audition on tape. Don't lose your eyeballs. The moment you lose your eyeballs in that scene, cut. You don't want to have somebody else in front, like, when they do over the shoulder shots, and we'll get into this in just a moment, where it's your close up. So you have your close up, and then you have the person that you're talking to, their close up. You don't want to show their close up in your demo reel. So even if you go back into the footage to where they just get a shot of you just listening and reacting to what the words are, that's what you want, because you don't ever want to feature somebody else in your demo reel. Anyway, let's go over to Michael. Michael says right here, should you do many different scenes in your reel, or should you do your reel on what the project you're looking at? No, I would say don't organize it to just one project.
No, absolutely not. For example, my demo reel, and Elizabeth has seen this, and if you go to the website IMDb, you can actually see my demo reel. It's a small part that I did. It's a small snippet of 4 different movies that I've done, and it's just a featured part of me in that movie that we pulled away and said, okay, we're going to just use this much of this movie, and it was edited together in 4 different movies. And under each movie, this wonderful woman right here, she actually put the title of the movie underneath it. And this is Ken Dodd's demo reel in the very beginning. It's wonderful. It's fantastic. But it's a lot harder to describe what you're supposed to have in it than it is to know. Like I said, like I was just saying, you were just having a hard time explaining how over the shoulders. It's a lot harder to explain it than it is to say you got to have a demo reel. And because we're in the business and it's not, we take it for granted. Okay, we've got to update our demo reel. We've got to update our pictures. We know what that is, but explaining it to somebody else a lot harder. So yeah, it's your. How would you say a video dossier? How does that sound?
It is truly your video resume, because you're picking ideally you want to pick the projects that are the best projects on your resume and put them into your demo reel. So Ken Dodge is one of these guys where he's just diamond in the rough is the only thing that's coming to my mind at this time at night, but that's not quite what I'm trying to say. He had all this great footage that he was working with well-known, amazing actors, and he is an amazing actor, Ken Dodge. And he's like, Elizabeth, I just don't know how to put it together. And I'm like, Don't worry about it, because I've done some video editing in the past, so I can put it together. I would say the best way to get a full perspective of what everybody's demo reel looks like, here's how. Go to a site called Backstage. Backstage.com, not Backpage. Okay, that's the wrong one.
No,
Backstage.
You don't want to go there.
And I have Backstage pulled up. We will share that. Go to Backstage, and you should be able to view some peers' demo reels. If not, go to IMDb, and you'll be able to view demo reels. If not, Google it. Start looking. Network with some agents. Say, listen, what are the casting directors looking for? And with your demo reel, that was after years of failing on my own. I should have skid marks across my face from the pavement of how many times I failed on that one. But I figured it out that, it just makes common sense. They want to know what is this project and who are you? And that's what they want to know, but they want to see your very best work. So I would say when you're first starting out, if you can afford it, have one made. It will be synchronous throughout. The color, the lighting. I mean, it will be impeccable, but expect to spend between $1,000 to $5,000 to have your demo reel professionally produced in the beginning. And that's going to be your foot in to get an agent.
And a big thing about agents, a lot of the United States, such as Georgia, Tennessee, these are not states that have agents. These are right-to-work states, so they're really not union states. You don't have to be a member of the union, the Screen Actors Guild. This is where we're getting into the being union or not union. Georgia is a right-to-work state, so you don't have to be union. And if you are union, it's kind of a double-edged sword, because if you're union, you have guidelines that you have to stick with. And if you end up working a non-union gig, non-union film or non-union commercial or anything that's non-union, not affiliated with the Screen Actors Guild, you can lose your membership. You can lose your union affiliation, which is something that you don't want to do. Because once you become a Screen Actors Guild union member, we're talking about people, your peers are people like Ray Liotta, Ashley Judd, the big stars, the creme de la creme, the upper 1%. But I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not one of those upper 1%, but those are the people that are members of the Screen Actors Guild. And if you ever watch TV, the SAG Awards, that's exactly who we're talking about. You are voted. These movies that are on the SAG Awards are voted on by the people that are the members of the Screen Actors Guild, such as myself and such as people that are members of the union. But you're not allowed to work on non-union gigs. So if say Elizabeth says to me, "Hey Ken, I got a friend of mine shooting a really good movie. The pay is pretty good, and I think you'd be great for it." And I'm like, "Oh, cool, yeah." And I rushed down there to Georgia, and I grabbed the script. I'm like, "Oh, this is great. I want to do it." And we end up doing it, and it's not a union gig, and the Screen Actors Guild in Nashville finds out, they're going to come after me. They're going to say, "Ken, why didn't you contact us? Why did you do this? You know, rule number one is you do not work any non-union gigs." And I can't say, "Oops, I'm sorry." It's not one of those deals where you apologize, you do it, and then apologize later, because that's not how the union works. They are very serious about what they do. So the union can be a double-edged sword. So getting your foot in the door, and then jumping onto anything you can get it and get yourself into once you become union, after working as long. And again, this is a long road, because it took me a long time to get to where I was a union. Now Elizabeth right here, she is SAG eligible. Now,
right.
What that means is she's done some really great movies. Everybody has seen her. Everybody knows she's fantastic. But she has, and she can go to SAG and they can say, "Yes, we want you. We want you to be a SAG member." But it's up to her inevitably in the end to take that final step and say, "Yes, I'm going to go ahead and take the SAG membership. And from now on, everything I do is going to be SAG." Now, granted, if you're SAG, you get paid a lot more money. You get insurance on set. So if anything happens to you, you are covered 100%. And there's a lot of other things and other benefits that come to you by being union.
Yep. And let's pause right there. We have Jim Valente with us. He's coming up to the screen. Here he is. Jim, how are you?
Hello, Jim.
Can you hear me?
I can hear
Yes,
you. Do you have a question for us tonight?
My question is, Ken has something coming up. He's doing a gig. What's he got? Is it music? Is it video? Or what?
No. Well, I'm really there's something that, again, in the business, when you're talking about the video, the business and the lingo, when you're working on something, you sign this piece of paper. It's called a non-disclaimer. You're not allowed to tell anybody about what is going on, what you're doing, until the certain time the movies or the commercial or something is released. That's, again, all part of the business. So what I'm working on right now, and have been working on, the little bits and pieces, I'm not allowed to talk about right now. That's why I'm allowed to do this with her, because it's something completely unrelated. You understand what I'm saying? And
well, you're not allowed to give details, but I was just wondering, is it music or is it film? That's all.
Oh, so he's just saying, is it music or film?
Oh, it's film. It's film.
It's film.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
All right.
That's all. I'm not asking for details, because I know you do music and you do film. You know, you do a lot of things, Ken. So I just wonder which one it is.
He does.
Right now, I actually do. I'm doing both with the Gene Simmons impersonation. I am a Gene Simmons impersonator in several tribute bands, but the film and the acting that I'm doing right now, again, I can't really go into it because of non-disclaimer. Ladies and gentlemen, just so as you know, this is Jim Valente, the Jim Valente, the writer of the Blood Passion series. And if you hadn't had a chance to check it out, you need to check out Blood Passion.
Thank you. Thank you for mentioning that. Thank you very much.
You must check it out. But to answer your question, Jim, like I said, I've already signed a non-disclaimer form, and I'm not allowed to talk about it until such a time that I'm told, okay, you're clear.
I didn't see the gag on your mouth, so I just figured you would talk about it.
No, that's okay. All right, Mr. Jim Valente, tell us, where can we buy your book? What is your website? And then we'll say goodnight.
There's no website. You go on Amazon.com and you look me up under J.M. Valente. That's my pen name. And, number 1 and 2 of the series is only available in ebook because that publisher went out of business. But I'm in process of having those reprinted in a new format, though. It's going to be Blood Passion Volume 1, which will include book 1, 2, and 3 in one volume.
Wonderful. Well, congratulations on that.
Yeah, I just started the process on that. It should be late. It should be in the fall. It should be out there. And then, of course, 4 is available. 3 is available, and I'm working on 5.
Yay!
And don't forget,
I
Liz.
love it.
Don't forget, Liz. In book 4, you're in that book.
I know.
I have, Officer Beth Cooper in the series.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Thank you, Jim. We absolutely love you. I put you in the comments so everybody knows where to go buy your books. And we will talk to you very soon. We're going to go ahead and wrap up the topic that we were talking about just a moment ago, okay?
And Ken's also in the books, too.
Yes,
Both of
he
you
is.
people, I'm using both of you as characters in Blood Passion.
Well, and I think that's a very good judgment call. All right. Good night, Mr. Valente.
We're both
Good night.
characters.
Good to see you both. Ken, one last thing before I go. Hopefully you and I can talk with each other soon.
I hope so too, buddy. I hope so too.
Yes. All right.
All right. You guys stay well. Elizabeth, you stay beautiful.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night. That was very nice. All right. So if anybody else would like to pop in and ask us a quick question, you're welcome to hit that link in the comments. We have a couple of people here. We have Jane. It is so nice to see you, Miss Jane. Hi, Catching Live. Thank you so much. Michael Schwartz, thank you. Is Oregon non-union, or do most states have both union and non-union? From what I understand, no, a state is either union or non.
But you can work if Oregon. I think Oregon is one of those states that if your union, I'm Union, Tennessee, and a movie is being filmed in Oregon, my union my Screen Actors Guild union will cover me to work in that state. No matter where I go, I can be covered as long as the union knows about it. You understand? Doesn't have to be a union gig. As long as the union knows about it, they would still cover me insurance-wise, and I would still get the union payout. You understand what I'm saying? It doesn't have to be a union gig. But as long as they know about it, as long as the union knows about it, you can work anywhere in the world.
Very good. Well, thank you for answering
as far as being a right-to-work state, such as Tennessee or Florida or Georgia, I don't know if Oregon's a right-to-work state or not.
Right, and I don't know. I'd have to Google that and look that up to see if it's a right-to-work state or not. So we had left off at SAG eligible. And SAG eligible means that you have what's called a Taft-Hartley, which is basically your paperwork on a SAG film or TV show, and you sign off on those, and it records how many hours, and you have to have so many hours and all this kind of stuff for SAG. Now, they change it whenever they do make adjustments in their rules and regulations, which does happen. So for myself, I became SAG eligible in the beginning. And that was a huge privilege to be able to do that. But there were so many other projects out there that I wanted to work on. And at the end of the day, when I made that marketing plan that we talked about in the first episode of, sit down with yourself and figure out, what name are you going to go by? How are you going to market yourself? How can you sell yourself? What are your strong points? What are your weak points? Just basic marketing of yourself. I knew that I had a dual love. I loved being in front of the camera as well as behind the camera. I find behind the scenes almost more fascinating than I do being in front of the camera. So I wanted to leave myself open to producing my own things and work on just whatever I wanted to. And I believe if I needed certain things that the union offers, such as phenomenal health insurance, I would have gone union. If I was going to stay in a union state, if I was going to move back home to New York, New Jersey, or move out to Los Angeles, I would really have to be union. But because my roots and my family is here in Georgia and we're a right to work non-union state, it opens you up for so more, in my opinion.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. That's why I said it was a double-edged sword. because living in Georgia and in Tennessee, so much was going on in Tennessee at the time when see, now I became SAG in Florida way back in the early 80s. And then I left the movie industry movie and television industry for a long, long time due to a tragedy in my family. I completely left the movie industry completely. And it was 18 years later that I popped up here in Tennessee and was asked to play this part in this small film called DeVex the Ghost. And I accepted the part. And then when I became what I thought at that time was SAG eligible, I went to the SAG office here in Nashville, and they said, "You've been a member of SAG since 1986, and your affiliation is still there." I had no idea that I was still affiliated. I thought it was blackballed from way back then because of the way I left. And I should have been, but due to the cast members and the directors and the producers of the TV show that I was working with back in Florida, they stepped up to plate for me while, after I had left, and explained to them, this is the reason all this happened. And I was very lucky. So my SAG affiliation goes all the way back to the 80s. Okay. And if I could have done more work here that was not SAG affiliated, like I could have gotten in trouble for doing what the DeVex the Ghost. There was no SAG affiliation. I had no idea that I was still SAG. You understand what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying.
At the time, I thought I completely left it, and I thought I was blackballed. I thought I was done. So when I got back into it, it was basically as a favor to a dear friend director. So, and when I got back together with the Scranters Guild here in Nashville, they said, "Well, you've never been blackballed. We still have all your credits going back to 1980, actually 83, excuse me, because that was a year ago." God, I'm old. Holy crap.
Well, you know what? Actually, I have a good question from a viewer here. I have Michael Schwartz. He's asking, what does it cost to be in the union? And this would definitely be a question for you, since I am not in the union. I don't pay my dues. So they do charge you an annual due. What is that currently?
Now, I can't tell you what yours would be, okay? Because mine was grandfathered in from the 80s. Okay. I do know that to become a SAG member, you have to pay what's called a union impact fee. To first get into the business, I think it's $1,500. That's immediate. So go straight to get all your paperwork listed and get you listed as a member of the Screen Actors Guild. But you have to be invited. It's not something you can just walk in there and say, "Hey, I'm ready to be a SAG member." It doesn't happen like that. You have to be asked. And I know what my dues are, and it's every 6 months. I would rather not tell you what they are, but they're not that bad. But you know what? I'll go ahead and tell you. Every 6 months, I pay $212. Okay, $212 for 6 months. That covers me 100%. When I step on stage or step on the set to do a movie, my minimum I make is a certain amount.
It was not that price in 2016.
No, it was not.
No, it was not.
No, it was not. But we're going back to the 80s.
Right. Okay? That's awesome.
We're going back to the 80s when I first got into it. So all that carried over from the 80s.
Yeah.
So that's what I pay every 6 months.
We're getting comments.
But you won't pay that. It's different now.
Right,
it's so much different now. The world has changed.
The world absolutely has changed. And, so the last time I really looked into it was when I was eligible, which was 2015, 2016 in that time frame. And yeah, I have Michael Schwartz saying, "Lucky you." So I'm reading all these comments because I know that you can't see the comments live at the moment. But I do remember doing some further research, and here's what I found. And of course, these things change. When you get jobs, you get them from something called breakdown services.
Yes, and I have both. I have two of those that I work with. And we'll get into that too. The different breakdowns such as casting networks and, and access,
we will.
Actors Access.
Yeah.
But those are two of the ones that I get a lot of mine from. So
yes. And everything comes through breakdown services and then goes out, right? So
yes.
to access breakdown services, if you were to go on to one of your networks, which we'll get into in just a moment, but I want to get out this interesting fact. if you are to log into your networks and see what is open for you to view and self-submit to, self-apply to, if you will, right? Okay, a submit is like you're applying to a job. It's the same thing.
Right.
You do not get to see the good stuff. All right.
No.
So like NCIS or,
Right.
you know, any of the big shows, you don't get to see that stuff. Agents get to see that stuff
That's
because they
correct.
don't want everybody under the sun self-submitting to those really high paying good jobs. Right.
Right. Right. That's
So
correct.
I looked into it and my dues would have been $1,500. I believe it was every 6 months, $1,500 buy-in, if you will, after you're invited,
Right.
or a one-time $10,000 to become my own agent, and breakdown services is wide open to me.
Yeah, I've never wanted to do that. Which, you know what? Honestly, if you're in the biz and the biz is in you, that is an amazing opportunity, because that's something that's a once in a lifetime thing. If that's what you're into doing, just the materials that you get that they put in your lap, that is a
Huge.
It's a once in a lifetime opportunity to be able to be given that, and as long as you remain a member of the SAG union, to be able to get that constantly, you could change people's lives. Okay, not only your own but other people's.
Oh, it's huge.
I never wanted to get into that aspect of it. I was an actor. I've always been an actor. I was a character actor. I was, you name it. You wanted me to do it. Tell me if you want me to wear a dress. I'll wear a dress. It's okay. I'll do it. It's okay. That was me. I was the entertainer. That's all I ever wanted to do. And that's all I've ever done. But there are several different packages that you can get that you can be that the SAG can say, I think this would work for you. This would behoove you. And if you're interested in this is something that we think that would, in our eyes, is exactly what could fit you. But they're not going to make you take that. They're going to give you the offer. Just like if Elizabeth said, okay, I'm ready to become a SAG member, and she walks in the SAG today and they say, okay, are you still interested in the production aspect of it? And she says, yes. They can offer that again, but the price may be totally different now.
Right. Yeah.
It may have gone up exponentially.
Right.
Then again, it may have gone down because she's been a SAG eligible member for so many years.
Right. Right. So Jane Bunker here. She is saying, I was union the past 5 years through a NM county, so New Mexico County job. They wanted us to pay $15 to $20 a paycheck or $30 a month. They still legally protected any one union, even if they didn't pay. Interesting. So I'm not totally sure exactly what she's talking about, but
I'm not either.
She is asking what type of union we're talking about. So we're talking about the SAG acting, the guild for acting and screen. Blah blah blah. Where'd you go, Ken?
Here I am. I'm back.
We sucked dead air there for a minute. I'm thinking about SAG-AFTRA, and I can't get the words out of my mouth, and Ken left the screen. All right, and we're back.
This is the union we're talking about.
Yes, thank you. Yes, thank you very much. So this is all, about acting on film, on screen, television. Theater is completely different. So we are not talking about that. Okay, right. So let's move on from union versus non-union. That is really something that I would say once you begin doing, obviously you're going to be doing non-union work in the very beginning. Once you start getting yourself propelled forward to where maybe you've either paid for your demo reel or you have some footage to put a demo reel together. Next, what you're going to be looking for is, how in the world do I get an agent?
Right. And again, when it comes to Tennessee, they don't have agents here. They have agencies such as Talent Trek, the Cannon Group. These companies represent a multitude of people, and they try to send as many people out on jobs as possible. It's like throwing, noodles against the wall and see which one sticks. Being that it's a union state, not right to work state, you really don't have the opportunity to have an agent. I do not have an agent. God knows I'd love to have one, and I wish this woman right over here was my agent, because if it were, I'd be a very rich man and she'd be a very rich woman. I'm telling you, because there's not a whole lot of people like Elizabeth Cooper that believe in me as much as she does. I think she believes in me a lot more than I do. But here's the thing. You don't just go out and find an agent. An agent you have to have something that an agent wants. You're not going to go out and buy a car unless you really, really want it. Unless, I got to have that. It's the same thing with an agent. The agent has to know that they're going to be able to make money, that you're marketable, that you're going to be able to make them rich. And it's just like that. You see it in movies. You see these agents that are like, don't call us, we'll call you. I really hate to say it, but in a lot of aspects, that's the way it is, because that's their business.
Right.
They make money by prostituting out their actors, and some of them are fantastic people that will break their back for you, and some of them just, I'll think I'll work today, but I'm not working for the rest of the week. You get that in every aspect of every job in the world. So getting an agent, I would have to contact somebody out of, say, New York or somebody out of LA that is a union state.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not going to find agents in you have agencies there in Atlanta, don't you, in Georgia?
It's kind of an interesting combination. And first off, we have a question. So let me get to the question, then I'll answer that question. No, that's great. Michael's asking, how do you pick a good one, meaning a good agent, since there's so many of them? So this is kind of twofold to combine both of your questions. One, do we have agents here in Atlanta? Yes, we do. And yes, we do have agencies. Even though we're a right to work state, we have, up until 2020, we led the nation for 11 years in big budget filming. So that
Absolutely.
really changed the dynamic of what was happening in our city. And it forced in some union likeness. Even though
Kentucky started doing that too for a while.
They did.
Then COVID came down. But I knew that you had agents, but I knew that you had a lot more than we do here, because we don't have agents. We have agencies. And I know that there are agencies in Atlanta as well. But I wasn't sure if you had actual agents, as in what they call Hollywood agents.
Right. And I agree with you. Those are two totally different things. They really are. And you'd have to go and work in the LA market to understand where Ken is coming from, or the New York market, to understand exactly what he's saying. Chicago is also union. It is that's a little different of a hairy monster. But to answer your question, Michael, just really quickly, and then we'll go into explanation about it.
Research.
It's right. It's not necessarily how you pick a good one. It's put your information out there, see what you get, and then background check the hell out of everybody. Because
I second that.
90% of what you're going to get when you're brand new and you're green and you haven't worked with major casting directors, haven't casted you haven't worked with major productions, they don't know. They don't know if you're going to show up on time. They don't know if you're worth it, if you've got the chops. They don't know anything about you. So what you're first going to get is just kind of, unfortunately, all the garbage. You're gonna go through a lot of garbage to find that one guy that maybe he's a boutique agent out of a boutique agency, and he's small and they're looking to stay really small. That's, in my opinion, what you're looking for, especially in this type of area. I guess any area, actually, because LA just lost their mind. In 2019, because they had to start recording their auditions. And I remember talking to my manager and my publicist and stuff at the time in 2018, 2019. They're like, Liz, what do I tell these people? And I'm like, send them to Tim Phillips at Tim Phillips Studio in LA, because he can help them. Because they were just like, I suck. Like, I can't do this. If I'm not in person, I totally suck. So anyway, the boutique agencies, a lot of them here in Atlanta, will record your auditions for you. Instead of every time you get an audition, you have to hire a recording service and go make an appointment for $40 an audition to have it recorded, and then they put it together and it looks so great. It has your name on it, and it's exactly, if your file name needs to be last name, first name, agent name, date, whatever it is, they will do that and it'll be sent off. It's a no-brainer, but you're spending $40 every audition to do it.
Absolutely.
Anyway, I took that train and I went off the tracks with it. So yeah, it's not necessarily you picking one. It is your luck. It's what you have to offer. It's how well you hustle and you get that first beginning work and you put together a resume and the resume is actually put together correctly.
And if I could just interject here,
yes,
you have to really, really be careful as to who you trust in this industry, because in the beginning, you're going to have the sharks swimming around, and they're going to try to bite, and they're going to try to fool you, and you get bad people in every aspect of the business, in music business and in acting. It's all the same. You're going to get guys who are going to say, okay, if you pay me this much money, I guarantee you I'll put you in front of the casting director of NCIS. First of all, it's a lie. It's a lie. If somebody says, if you pay me this, I'll give you this, I'll get you in front of these people, it's a lie. They can't do that.
Now,
it can't be done. Put your roller skates on and get out of there.
Absolutely.
Talent doesn't pay to play.
Absolutely. Sort of.
I knew this was going to happen. I knew this was going to happen because there are reputable companies out there that have you invest in yourself. That's the point I was just about to get to. But the ones that say, I promise, I guarantee you, I will get you in front of the casting director for this. I will get you on The Walking Dead. That's a lie.
Those are all, total. I'm right there with you. Absolutely. Right. Any of those false promises, anybody that, especially if they message you, oh, I know this person. I know. No, you don't.
No,
you don't. Because you know what? Ken Dodge knows people. I know people. And guess what? You don't get to our contacts unless you are like so far above us. And then at that point in time, it's like, it's no, you don't know anybody. So that don't believe anything you hear. Vet everything you hear. Now, the pay to play thing in New York, they do have things like production fee structures. And sometimes, yes, you do pay to be a part of that production. It's never very much money, but let's get into something that is more realistic, right? How much do agents, or should agents, charge in the percentage that they want to get from you? Ken, what do you think?
I pay my agent 15 to 20% depending on the job, which is not very much. That means they're going to work their butt off to get as much money from me as they can. The more money I get, the more money they get.
So I pay 15 to 20% also. And then management is usually going to be another 10 to 15%.
Yeah, 15% from my management, and then they get gifts too.
Right. Yes. They both should get gifts. I'm not very good at that all the time. I make up birthdays like all in one day. Like, August 1st is everybody's birthday. But then you'll have publicists, and the publicists will want that they're wonderful people. Really, they truly are, but they will need to be paid monthly. So you're going to be paying monthly, and for it's hard to say. It goes network to network.
You're not going to have that when you first get in the business.
No, you're not going to have that.
Down the road.
This is down the road.
I didn't want anybody to get confused that if you get into the business, the first thing you're going to have is this, an agent.
No.
This is steps, okay?
Absolutely.
This is down the road. Once you're already in the business, this is what some of the things you're going to have. Depending on what your job is, depending on if you want to be an actor, a producer, a writer, and I know a lot of actors that have publicists. I personally don't have one. I'm my biggest publicist, but I just can't sell myself. That's why I need a good agent. So,
And we could have a
So,
totally different show on how to be your own publicist.
absolutely.
There is some interesting degrees to that. So yes, so let's take that off the board, because Ken is absolutely right. I mean, you need a resume, you need some work within that demo reel to be able to show what you can do and organize yourself the right way. And some of these tips that we've talked about, we're about to go on to. We just went over the fees. So I would say, yeah, you're looking somewhere between 10 to 20%, the highest that your agent is going to want to recoup from you for everything that they book you. So this is the other thing that I have noticed in going back to Michael's question about agents and stuff. Be careful with your contracts for some of your agents or agencies. Make sure that you either have very skilled eyes look at them, or go ahead and pay that entertainment lawyer to look over it for you, because there are certain sneaky things that I've noticed over the years that I've seen in some contracts, and I'm like, and I'm
Right.
glad I got into this older to be able to either have those people around me or to be able to have those eyes on me at certain times, because I've seen things where if you terminate the contract, they will charge you $100,000
Even more.
or more, where
Oh, yeah.
you need to be earning a X amount of money each month, or they will charge you, where their percentage, let's say, oh, it's only 10%, but then plus all the way throughout the contract.
That's right.
I mean, it's just, there's insane stuff that they put into these contracts. So no matter if it's a contract to work and you're trying to work yourself independently, and you have somebody coming to you outside of, let's say you don't have an agent yet, and you booked an audition, so you're doing it on your own. Make sure every contract that comes in front of your eyeballs have somebody skilled look at, because it can be really devastating when you sign something and it's just fouled up from the go.
Yeah, some of the contracts are made out to where you're going to lose no matter what. That's the one of the good things about being with Screen Actors Guild with the union, is that all that is taken care of for you, and you've got a host of lawyers behind you. People don't want to take on the Screen Actors Guild. That's like it's David and Goliath type thing going on. But if you're not union, you, like Liz says, I agree with her 100%. You have to really be careful and make sure that you have somebody of some sort of legal background see these contracts, and make sure there's a loophole. Make sure that you're not hanging yourself before you get on set, because as soon as you sign that, you could be signing your life away.
Absolutely. So I would like to move on to the networks necessary. So let's say, congratulations, you've gotten to the point to where you have some work behind you, you love it, you're going to go forward, and you have an agent. What is your agent going to say now? Your agent, in my experience, is going to say, sweetheart, you need to get onto these main networks, because this is how we submit you for work. And they'll give you an agent code, and you go and you plug in that agent code, and then you have to create a profile. Take 3 days. Like, it's everything. How big is your pinky finger in inches? How big is your waist in centimeters? Like, I mean,
there's a lot of information they got to have. I mean, God bless them. I get it.
Yeah,
I get it. I mean, because you're submitting for every single role that's out there through one agency. So they're trying to literally get you into that little category. So they have to find out everything about you. Everything. Can you whistle? Can you dance? Do you have facial hair? Are you willing to shave it off? Everything that there is to know about it, they have to have this. It is vital, because if somebody comes up, if a part comes up for a guy that's bald-headed and can juggle, if it doesn't say you can juggle on your resume, they're going to pass you by. Put on everything that you can do. Everything about you has to go on there, and don't lie.
That's what I was about to say.
If it says, can you ride a big wheel cycle, as in back in the old 1901, and you get a part and they said, okay, yes, it says here he can ride it, and you get on it and you can't ride it,
You're screwed.
You will not hear from that agency. You will not hear from that casting agency. And guess what? They work with every other agency out there. So they're going to say, no, I remember this guy. He lied, said he could do this. And we ended up losing 3 days of filming, which is millions of dollars. And you're not going to get work. So be honest with everything you put on there on casting networks, Actors Access. When you build these profiles, make sure that you are honest and put everything down there about yourself.
Absolutely. I have Actors Access up here, and it is logged in to me. But this is what it looks like when you log in. Obviously, you can't see anything that I wouldn't want anybody else to see here. But Actors Access, and then we have 800 Casting as well as Casting Frontier.
Very good platform.
They are. And yes, they do take a moment to, log in all your information, all that kind of stuff. And when they say, can you play the violin? If you kind of played it,
no, you don't.
Then no, you don't, because Ken is so right. There's no fudging. Like this isn't extra work with a violin where nobody's going to hear, and you just have to and even then, when they're looking for an extra, you actually have to know how to do what you're hired to do. So there is zero fudging. You make sure, if you know Italian, like you could go to Sicily and make your way around, because they don't want to deal with you if you're known to be a liar. And network is the operative word. This is
absolutely
from start to finish throughout this entire process. It's about networking, how well you network, how much other people want to work with you, who you know, who you don't know that wants to know you. It's all about networking. So these networks, however, let's talk about cost for a moment. Each one of these networks will have a reasonable to small fee. The largest,
unless you get a year subscription, and that's available also on some of them. Personally, and this is not something that the union covers. This is what you cover as an actor for yourself, just like your cards and just like your photos and your demo reels. These are tools that you have to have in your back pocket. Casting networks and Actors Access and 800 Casting. These are tools that will help you get work. It's not always up to your agent or up to your agency to get you work. If you sit on the couch and wait for them to get you work, you're going to starve. I mean, you're going to. So you've got to take it upon yourself to try to get yourself booked as well. And that's where these platforms come in hand. So
absolutely.
I lost track of what I was going to say.
Oh, no. So we were talking about monthlies or annuals. So yes, all of these networks, from what I remember, I mean, it's a combination. Some of them I pay annually because it's so much of a savings. Some of them I just pay monthly. There is one that is, I mean, pretty much you can find union work, but it is pretty much all non-union. Your agent does not care a blip if you have it. But going back to Backstage, that is the best place, in my opinion, to get started, because non-union, right? It's a great.
But I can't be on that because that's the difference. I want everybody to know this. What she's talking about is non-union, and that's why we're both on this show. I'm a union actor; she is a non-union actor. Right. So this is the difference. As a union actor, I have to go to a platform that offers union gigs. I can't work non-union. If it says non-union affiliation, I cannot work it. That's the difference between what she's talking about and what I'm talking about. It's the same thing, only different.
Exactly.
Make sense?
Exactly. And I think, this is a great point to bring up, because for myself, I'm one of those odd ducks. I mean, I have a Los Angeles agent. I got all that stuff, and they just look at me and they're like, "You're eligible. We'll work with you."
Yeah, you're going to get a lot more work done.
So, it is what it is.
You're an amazing talent.
Well, thank you. But for the purpose of this, thank you. For the purpose of this show, to be able to show everybody, how do you get started? I would say start with Backstage. And I just want to cruise through here for just one moment. So just bear with me. I'm sharing my screen here. And as you can see, it will list all these jobs, if you will. And on the right-hand side, it's going to show you the characters that you might best fit. You can organize this by job types. You can organize this by paid, not paid, localized city. As you see here, I work everywhere. I got New York, Los Angeles, Vegas, Miami, Cincinnati, Denver, Nashville, Atlanta. So I have all of my different areas set. And then you can just cruise through here and you can self-submit. And you will need your headshot, your resume, your demo reel, and this website will hold all of them for you. And then yes, it does create a size card for you because it will take all your information at the very beginning. And then if you have other experience, such as hosting, or once you get very experienced in trying to get some footage for yourself, let's say you did a couple of commercials, you did a few TV shows, and then you did a couple of different shorts or a few movies or whatever, then you can separate your demo reel, and that website, along with all the other websites, will house your different demo reels. You can do, if you're a voiceover actor as well, and maybe you've taken some courses on voiceover acting, it'll hold your voiceover files, which is wonderful. So that's a great place to get started, but do expect you will need to be on all the main breakdown services networks, and those networks are going to be from about $24, $25 a month to $10, $12 a month. But it adds up because there's three or four of them. And then there's IMDb, which is another one, and they charge.
Right.
So at the end of the day, you may have 5 or 6 of them that you're paying monthlies on that you have to have.
Which means you've got to have a job.
Yes.
So don't think that you're going to be acting and not have a job. You're going to have a job. The money has to be, you have to have a job or else you can't be an actor. I mean, every single actor that is out there has the story. I was living in my car. I was writing scripts. I was submitting this and that. I was a waitress. I worked at Burger King. Every one of them have that job, but you've got to realize that, again, this is where I say the business is in you. You have to know, you have to sacrifice, you have to give yourself a chance, believe in yourself. And if you do, you keep working and you get these breakdown services and you get your size cards, you get your headshots, you get your demo reels, you work it, you push yourself and audition for everybody you can. Once you start getting work, don't quit your job. Do not quit your job, because if you do, all that money's going to be gone. Don't think because you got one major movie, and Elizabeth can tell you this just as much as I do. If you get one major movie or one major part in a movie that doesn't do a whole lot,
right?
It's not going to be mailbox money for the rest of your life. Residuals are something totally different. We'll talk to it at another time.
Yeah.
But people like Keanu Reeves. I did a movie with Keanu Reeves back in the 80s that you probably didn't even know he was in. Keanu Reeves' first major movie that he did was Parenthood. I was in that movie with him. I was Jason Robart's stand-in.
Okay.
Keanu Reeves played the daughter's boyfriend in that movie. Ron Howard produced it. Yeah. And, again, he wasn't doing it. He was working at a car wash, and right. He was trying every bit part he could get. I mean, so don't think that once you get your first movie that from then on parts are going to fall into your lap. You got to keep doing the work. It's not going to happen overnight. That's why I say the business has to be in you. You have to believe in yourself. You have to put in the work, and there's a lot of it.
I would agree. And I think that you hit mostly on our ROI in the biz, but let's come back to that. Right. Let's finish it out with the ROI and go back to, we have the meaty topic of genre or vocabulary. Do you want to hit on vocab? We can knock out vocabulary pretty quickly.
Yeah, we do that quick.
So how about, let's start with booking vocabulary. What's booking vocabulary that you can think of, Ken?
You're such an eloquent speaker. You really are. I think that's something that you'd be better off explaining.
Okay.
Because, like I said, it's not that I don't know how to put it. Again, it's one of those things. Look over the shoulder, you work to the camera and everything. You can tell somebody that, but and they'd be like, "Huh?" They don't understand it. It's something that you know. It's the dialect and the genre. Ladies and gentlemen, Liz Cooper. Go ahead.
Well,
Go ahead.
all right. So let's do genre next, but booking vocabulary. So I would say that this is just a couple of words that you need to know that when you are very, very green and doe-eyed and puppy-like and I have a job, like I was a couple of years ago, and your agent says you haven't confirmed.
Right. That means
Okay.
you nailed it. You got the job.
It does. So there's some etiquette to know, especially for self-taping auditions, I would say. When you're working with your agent, you're self-taping your audition. He or
Go back to
she...
one.
Right. Well, that's on set. We're going to get to on set in just a minute. This is just booking. So
No.
when they send over an audition, you are to pretty immediately take a look at it. And they need to know right away, are you going to audition for it? So they need you to come back in simple words of saying, confirmed, thank you so much. And that means that you're going to tape it and submit it by the time that it's due. And they'll send you all that information. You're going to know when it's due. You're going to know how to set up the file. You're going to know, do they need a full body shot? And that's something else, a booking terminology. Full body means down to your toes but no further, and to the top of your head but no further. And a lot of these things, you can go on to YouTube and you can look up certain things. If you have an audition of large enough scale, they will actually send you what they're looking for. They will hire a model or an actor, or most likely it's probably just one of the casting directors, assistants that they have in the corner.
Right.
And she does, you put the one foot out and you turn sideways, you put the other foot out and you turn sideways and you stand. But there's a method to that. And you can ask your agent about how do you get the profile shots in a self-taped audition. So all of these things you will find in your audition paperwork, and you're going to see some words that are a little bit different, but definitely make sure that you do confirm. What's another word? I'm coming up with some blanks here as far as booking vocabulary. It's really on-set vocabulary that's more important.
Let me think. A reader.
Yes, reader.
A reader.
So
very important.
Reader is extremely important. A reader means that you have a scene, and I have had scenes that I've had to record, and they will be no more than 2 readers, no more than 2 other people that I'm interacting with. Most times it's one-on-one. So you'll have your lines, and then you'll have the opposing person that you're working with. And that opposing person is not to be on camera with you. It is to be a reader, which is someone who literally reads lines. But you don't want somebody going, we don't believe in, okay? So you need somebody who can fluently read, but not try to act it out in reading. They just need to give you those lines, because what casting is looking for is what you're doing. Casting does not want to be distracted by the person giving you your lines, feeding you your lines.
Right.
And that's what the reader does. So someone that is to be your reader, a lot of people use family members, and that's perfectly fine as long as they're willing to work with you and you can explain to them, okay, this isn't your moment to shine off camera.
Right.
So just say it. Just read it. And if you're working with your family, it's going to look exactly like that. Like, just read it. So
right. Shut up.
But
just read the damn thing.
If you're lucky
This isn't
enough,
Hamlet.
If you're lucky enough to have an agent who has a small boutique agency and they can record for you, then they're going to have a reader for you, and they're going to know what they're doing. So that's a reader. What's another one, Ken?
Lighting, making sure that your lighting is correct when you do video, when you do self-tape. Very important. This is what is huge. This is what we've been working with the last few times Liz and I have done shows. My lighting in my place here is not very great, but Liz, God love her, she's like, Ken, I love you to death, but you're killing me lighting wise. So she sent me that little lighting ring. These are vital things that you've got to have because they've got to be able to see you. You know, it's not set up right here because or set up correctly because you see the shadows right over my shoulder and over my head. You should never have this in the background whenever you do videotaping, whenever you do taping. It should be a blank background.
Right.
But for purposes of the show, I'm sitting here at my dining room table, so this is why it's like this. But if you look at her background, it looks very professional with Elizabeth, with the Cooper, Caffeinated Cooper show and the Biz. I mean, this woman she has taken this business and this avenue of giving this information to you to a whole nother step. This is almost kind of the way that Johnny Carson started. This woman is so professional and such an amazing person. She does this to help everybody else out. I'm not saying this to boost her up. This is who she is.
Thank you,
if
Ken.
you're lucky enough to meet up with somebody like her and to have her, and you're blessed enough to have a person like her in your life, it will go a long way. And that's something that money can't buy.
Thank you, Ken.
So what we're saying to you is not off of the top of our heads. These are things that we say this because it's true and we want to help you.
Yes, absolutely. I have two more words that just came to mind. Mark and blocking. Right. So I'll do mark, you do blocking. So okay. I have had auditions where you have to walk in. It doesn't mean that what you're sending to the casting director is going to be a blank screen, dead air, and then they're going to see you walk in. No, it gets edited to the right point. But sometimes you need that action. And so you walk in. So what is your mark? You will take a look at your camera, and whoever is operating your camera, God bless it. I hope you don't do it like I do, where it's me. But you will have somebody that says, okay, right there, that's where we can see your eyes clearly. That's where you're facing the camera. You never want to look at the camera.
Never.
So you always have a different eye line, which is another word that I'll go ahead and do now. Eye line is going to be where your gaze is. So my camera, I'm looking directly at the camera right now. If I was to do an audition looking directly at the camera, that would be really awkward. And the casting directors don't want to see that. Big no-no. So let's say I'm talking to two different people. My first person's going to be there and my next person's going to be there. So you look over here when they're speaking, you look over there when the other person's speaking, and you react, but you never bring your eyes back to that camera. You don't want to look down the barrel like that. So my mark when I'm coming into the scene is going to be marked on the carpet, on the floor. And that's right where you need to be absolutely as perfect as you can when you need to begin speaking. So what is blocking, Ken?
I want you to do that one too, because you did so good with Mark. I love to hear you say this because it's so awesome. And I love to hear you talk, and the way you explain it, I think they get more out of it. I'm just like a puppet in the background here as far as right now. I'm loving this. And blocking, there's so much to it. I want you to do it, please.
There is so much to blocking. There's two different types of blocking. In my opinion, there's one for a still setting, and then there's another one for when you're on set and it's an action scene type of thing. It's still basically the same thing, but let's say in this format. So I have many different views here. You can look at me as more of a landscape view, or it's a little bit more of a portrait view. So in my portrait view, I know I should not be here or be here or, too far back, too far forward. My blocking is going to be my range of motion that will be comfortable for everybody. And that's what my blocking is going to be. So for film or whatever, the cameras don't like just zip around and follow you everywhere. Like,
No, they don't.
you need to come into the camera shot and you need to be correct as to where your mark is, and then stay within your blocking, because let's say you come into a scene and yada 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 yada, they can't use that because
Right.
you're off camera. So you've got to know how far to the left, to the right, forward, back, up, down. You might be working the middle ground. So you have to know where you need to be. And especially in action films, it's most important because let's say you got to die. So you kind of have to gauge.
You have to know where to fall, or know how to fall, and know where the camera's going to be at the beginning and the end of the shot. You can't go out of that camera.
You can't. And I did have one scene, and just real brief, I'll talk about this. I had one scene where I was shot, and I practiced it, like religiously practiced it. And I worked with the stunt director, stunt coordinator, and then I took it to the gym and I worked it like day and night. And I mean, that shot went off and like a dead fish, I went down. It was great for the scene, but when they called cut, everybody was like, "Oh my God, are you okay?"
Right.
But I knew.
Oh yeah, I know those shots. You're like, got it. You're in the trailer later going, "Oh my God, I wish I had done that."
I know. Well, I did it again. I had pneumonia. It was like 20 degrees
no
out. It was raining. It was terrible. This is where you gotta love it. But anyway, and of course, that's summer. Most summer is filmed in the middle of winter, especially if you're filming TV. It's cold.
Baywatch,
it's real
I
cold.
think, is filmed in Alaska.
Yeah, real cold. But I knew that they had a wide capture. So I knew that if they could get it and I didn't freak out and I actually just died like I was hired to do, that they would use it. And they certainly did. And it was really interesting to watch. But anyway, so that's what I would say is blocking. And so we went over mark, blocking, eye line. How about on-set vocabulary? Ken, what's...
Okay. On-set vocabulary, you're going to hear the director, the producer, the sound guy, you're going to hear the lighting guy saying all these weird words, and you're like, what do they mean? Back to one. What do they mean by this? What do they mean by that? The vocabulary on set, like they're going to say sound, and whenever you hear somebody say sound, that means quiet. Say nothing else. And when they say action, of course, everybody knows what action means. That's when you start. When they say cut, that's when you're off script. But if they say back to one, that means you're right back to the beginning of the scene. You go back to the beginning. And you're going to hear back to one so many times in the business because there's no such thing as one take. They're going to do at least 10 takes.
Yes.
In anything. Go ahead, Liz. You're going to say something.
Yes. Back to one. So you can have back to one, mark 1. You can have mark 2, mark 3. What does that mean?
That's there's several different scenes that if you're going to do like a scene where you're talking to somebody and then you look over here to talk to this person, you go over here to talk to this person, and then you literally your mark is going to be where you're talking. This will be mark 1, this will be mark 2, and this will be mark 3. And back to one on mark 2 would be over here.
Right.
Back to mark 1 would be over here. Mark 3 would be right here. Back to 1. It's whichever scene they want to start the very beginning of it again.
Yes.
Back to 1. If you're getting out of a car, and you get out of the car, walk around the car, and meet with somebody in the front, that could be mark 2, meeting in front of the car. Mark 1 is when you start to get out of the car. Okay, back to 1, mark 1. This, I know this will, again, a lot of information was thrown at you, but this will come to you on stage. Keep your ears open, your eyes open, and you can Google all this on-set vocabulary, movies, television, theater. You can Google all these things, and again, doing the work, doing the investigative educating yourself with all this comes. And it's with Google now. It's so cool because we didn't have it when I was doing movies so many years ago. You learned as you went, and I was like, what does it mean? Cut? What does it mean? What does it mean back to talent? Talent. Yell talent. You're not talent unless you're like starring in the scene.
Right.
When somebody yells talent, that means a guy like me. Say I'm the stand-in.
Mm-hmm.
And the stand-in is just a guy that stands there in one spot. That's exactly what it means, stand-in. You are hired to be because you're about the same size and the same build as the talent, the star.
Mm-hmm.
So you stand in one spot, they get the lighting all right, they get the camera set, and then they say, okay, talent. That means you go away and the talent comes in and stands in your place.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And then they'll say, okay, cut, stand in. Then he goes away and I come back in and I have to stand there for 4 hours while they readjust the lighting again. So, and you have to, this is all part of becoming an actor, because if you're going to be acting, you're going to do extra work. You're going to do stand-in work. You're going to do background work. Again, those are other on-set things. Background, you're going to hear them saying that. Mm-hmm. Right before they say action, they'll go background. That means the people on set in the background start moving around, doing exactly what the director told you to do before.
How did they do that, Ken? How did they do that? What's the word?
I didn't hear you.
What's the word I'm looking for? How does the background move when they yell background? How does the background do it? Do they talk?
No, there's no talking.
They pantomime.
The background does not say anything. You just move. You pantomime your lips. You do not say anything, because sound. When they say rolling sound, background, you can be laughing.
Right. You say nothing.
That's acting. You do not say anything. It's moving around. When they say, okay, cut, back to one. You go right back to the beginning of that scene, and you may do that 100,000 times.
Right.
But they're looking at everything. They're looking at everybody in the background in the shot. They're looking at people in the foreground. If they hear a plane in the sky, oh, cut, we'll go back. We'll do it again. It could be as much as a bird flying close to the camera making a tweet. And they're looking for that perfect shot. So don't be surprised if you do one scene 30 or 40 different times. It happens.
Absolutely. We were shooting near the airport for one of the movies I was in. And we had what they call, like you just said, what they call hold for sound. So it's your sound guy, and he's got the headphones on. You're going to know which way. He's got the big boom mic most of the time. Right. And you're going to know who the sound guy is. He's got H1N1. And so, he's like, oh, hold for sound. Because, any loud trucks or trains or airplanes or anything like that can interfere with the sound. That's what that means. So hold for sound means be quiet. Most of this stuff means be quiet. If you're quiet as a mouse, you're a perfect person for, testing it out. See, are you retired? Maybe you want to do some extra work, or maybe you just have your sights set on that because you don't really want to get into acting, but you do really enjoy the shows and you'd like to be able to see if you can see yourself in the background. Hey, that's wonderful. I've got lots of friends who do that. And, quiet on set means literally that. It does not mean that if you're having a conversation with someone and they say quiet on, it means shut up or they will remove you, because their budget is budgeted down to the 1 minute that they run with actors out there, with extras out there, with stand-in people and makeup artists and coordinators. And it is so exorbitant of a cost per minute just to have a production running that if you're loud or obnoxious, you're out of there. Immediately.
They're not going to put up with that.
Oh yeah, not at all. So I think
professionalism.
Absolutely. So I think as long as you know who you are, are you a stand-in? Are you featured extra? Are you an extra? They're not going to come in and say, "Oh, Miss Cooper," when you're just booked for nothing much. I mean, you got to know who you are.
You're there to help their dream come true.
Right. And crafty is the last one. What in the world is crafty?
You mean craft services?
Yes.
Craft services. First of all, craft services, you got to eat. Everybody's got to eat. And craft services it's not the fact that the cheese company is coming down there and you're going to do a commercial with cheese company. Craft services is the people that feed the actors and feed the people on set. They have coffee, and these are mainly for the cast and the crew. If you're a background person, they're going to bring you bag lunches. They're going to feed you. But craft service is mainly for the people that are working on set, the actors and the cast and production staff. I thought you was being crafty as in being funny and being inventive. But craft services is the food that you get on set. And it's going to be there every time you do a commercial, TV, because everybody's got to eat.
Absolutely. And from set to set, it varies. I was able to work for Tyler Perry on a few of his shows, and
very good crafties.
Everybody eats. Like they ate. Like it was good. It was really, you want filet mignon for lunch and you're just an extra in the corner sitting in a chair that probably won't even get on camera today, and you could eat it. Like it was, it's wonderful. And then, especially as the productions become smaller, the food is still good. It's still very, very good.
Great.
They're always going to feed you well. And that is one thing guaranteed, especially in the beginning when you are working. And let's say that it doesn't pay very much, or it just pays your gas to get there and back. You are going to be fed. And that is a nice perk, because people don't perform well when they're hangry. So I would say that's
true. It is.
That's a good beginning set of vocabulary. I don't think any of the other stuff, it all sort of builds. It's like a language. It just builds from there. And those are just some good points as far as, what to know when you first step out on anybody's set. And if you hear something that's like quiet on set, hold for sound, all these things, just be quiet. Like if you don't know, just be quiet and you're going to be 100% perfectly fine. So let's finish this out, Ken, with your assessment of the ROI, the return on investment.
I said it before, and I really don't. I really can't say this enough. First of all, if you want to get in the business, make sure the business is in you. And whatever you invest, know that in your heart, monetarily, whatever you invest, and if you keep after it, and you keep at it, you're going to get a return on it. As long as you don't give up. You may not make $1 million in the first year. You may not make $1 million in the first 15 years. I'm working on my third million because the first two didn't work out. Okay. No matter what, whatever you put into it, as long as you believe in yourself, you've got to put the work in, and you've got to give yourself a break. Don't be so hard on yourself, and know that you learn a hell of a lot more from failure than you ever will from winning. Because if you win all the time, you have no idea, you don't know what to reach for. If you fail, you've always got another bar to reach for. And every time you succeed, you raise your bar a little bit more. You learn more from failure than you do from success. I wish you the best of luck. I love you all with all my heart and soul, and I hope to God I get to work with every one of you one day, because that's our big thing, is to be able to work with our peers. I want to work with this woman. So I've worked with her before, but I want to work with her on a big budget movie where I can say she was the star, and I got to work with her, and I've known her for years. That's the pinnacle. That's where you want to reach. You want to make people happy and work with people that you admire and people that you love. Your return on investment is what you put in, and like I said, don't ever quit. Believe in yourself and know that the business is in you, or else you'll never get in the business.
I think that is a lovely answer. And I love how you answered that, Ken. And this is why we complement each other. This is why Ken and I are doing a show together, because you hit everything on a spiritual note, which I think is so very important. And my brain was going more towards the financial, very cold side of it. And, it doesn't have to be cold, though. But
No, it's not.
when I'm looking at return on investment, yes, of course, if you've gotten to the point to where you're pondering, when can I leave my day job to pursue this? If you can, that is wonderful. There are many, many people out there that are working actors and actresses. And I do hope that if you're there, you stay there. And if you're going to get there, that it is the best that it absolutely can be. But life does happen. And if, we just look back over the past year of 2020, we never thought that would happen. There are so many wonderful, extremely successful, that 1% within the acting world that just stopped. It just all stopped. And that can happen at any moment in time in any career, really. So in my opinion, I look at, okay, what's my return on investment? Let's look at it monthly. Everything that I have to pay out, what am I going to get back? Well, to be really honest with you, for what I put out, I probably get back a negative at this point.
Yeah.
And
that's going to happen in the beginning. I mean, that is your investment. That investment may go for years and years and years before you get a return on it.
Yes, absolutely. So to put it out there, I've had a lot of single mothers that have asked me, how do you do it? You got kids. Okay, well, first of all, I have a very supportive family. You definitely, if you have children, you have to have that network of support, not just a babysitter that you can hire from time to time, because very quickly you're going to go through all your money in babysitting. So you have to have that support system. And if you have that support system, but yet you have a family that you're still rearing up into life, it's going to slow down your ROI, in my opinion. If you have no obligation whatsoever, you can probably turn around what I have going for me, where I'm putting out X amount, but I'm getting a return of a negative at this point. So I'm still marking negative, loss in my business, which is perfectly fine because I've been doing this for about 6 years. So that's not very long. Then it speeds it up the less you have to stretch yourself, because this really is a big, furry, fluffy, lovable monster.
It is.
But it is that. And every little part of it needs to be massaged and it needs to be perfected. And perfection doesn't just happen. You fail a lot, you learn, and then you try again. And then you fail again and you learn, you try again. And so anyway, I would say overall, if I was to answer it simply, what's my return on investment? It's going to be a negative for the first several years. You're going to be outputting money more than you are going to be earning money. And that's so deceptive, because you can book a decent gig and make a couple $1,000s on that few days worth of work and go, wow, it's really great. But
that's the whole reason I said don't quit your job, because that movie that you did, even though you did 16 lines and you were in 2 scenes and it was in the movie theater, if it wasn't a blockbuster and they don't have a number 2 coming out, people are going to stop watching that movie. When they stop buying it, stop showing it on TV, you don't get any more money in the mailbox as a union actor. But as a non-union actor, once you're paid for that, you're done. You're done. That's it. You have to book the next gig.
Right.
So I agree with you 150%. Your return on investment is going to be at least 5 to 10 years, depending how far you want to go.
Right.
You can be lucky enough to get, and it has happened, you can be lucky to get a part in a movie, and that movie end up being Days of Thunder, a great big huge box office hit. And you can probably live off that mailbox money for a year or so. But like I said, whatever you do, don't quit your job until you know in your heart of hearts that you've got work coming in steady and you can support yourself on what you're earning from acting. And that can change in a microsecond, just like what happened with COVID. Everyone from the 1%ers all the way down to myself and all the way down to the people that would not SAG, everything stopped. But the one thing that didn't stop was life.
Oh,
Because
absolutely.
you still got to pay you still got to eat. You still got to pay for your phone. You still got to pay your mortgage. You still got to put gas in your car. And if you can't work, you can't do this.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. Integrity is number one. And I think it's like building so many other businesses. You know, you hustle, at least for some of the businesses that I have, and I think this applies to many different businesses, no matter if you have a restaurant. For myself, you know, it's a construction company. So you're hustling from job to job to job to fill up jobs within your future, because that's going to be money coming in. But as that money comes in, you really have to look at it and go, oh, not go, oh, wow, I got a paycheck, but say, okay, this part of this paycheck goes to this part of this paycheck, I have to recognize that I had to get my hair done. I had to get my nails done. I had to, you know, all these expenses. And you used to be able to write them off in taxes. You can no longer write those things off. So even when you did write it off in taxes, you got a percentage back. Now you get nothing back. So as far as your wardrobe for meetings and your meals for meetings, if you're going to network and really hustle yourself, you have those types of things. Your gifts that you give to an agent, or a gift that you can send to a casting director that booked you, or a production company that booked you. If you really, really want to get yourself out there, those are great things to do. Christmas cards, all those types of things that your business of you is going to need to outlay that money. So the money coming in really needs to go into a reserve until your reserves are built up to a certain point. And I think this is where marketing and simple business understanding is so important in acting, that many people won't tell you that you need to have those skills.
Honey, that's another 5-hour show right there. I mean, what people don't understand is there is so much to this. In this business, it might as well be rocket science, because there is so many small avenues and so many spider webs out that all connect right into that little dot on the inside, which is where we all want to be. Marketing, advertising, there's so many different shows we can do from just these 2 shows that we've done, but we can't go over that, or else we'd be on here 7 days a week, 365 days a year, because there's so much that we could tell you. This is where the work, we can't do the work for you. This is where you've got, Google is a great tool to use for a lot of stuff that we've talked about. And I said it before, the stupid question is the one that is not asked. There is no such thing as a stupid question. If you don't know something, find somebody that you think would know the answer and ask them.
Absolutely.
Ask Google, ask somebody. Wisdom and knowledge is so powerful.
Right.
So powerful.
So it's the arts, right? It is the arts. We do it to feed our soul. We don't do it to get rich. And if you happen to stumble upon that and you get rich doing something that feeds your soul, congratulations.
Absolutely. If you can get rich on doing something that you love, God bless you. You are one of the 1%ers. I don't do it because it's going to make me rich. I do it because I absolutely love that right there.
Yeah.
That what you're doing, that big smile you got right there. That's why I do it. It has nothing to do with the money that goes in my pocket.
That's absolutely right. It's a beautiful business to be in, especially if you're somebody that loves to learn and continue to learn and learn from others and network and meet people and just the love of life. This is a great avenue to stroll down. So everybody, I hope that we have been helpful. We've had a lot of interaction. A lot of people. Ted, it is very good to see you. Ted Lang out in Los Angeles. If you're union, you cannot work non-union. Yes, Ted. We did discuss that a little bit with Ken. He was going over that. Michael Schwartz tuned in with us, as well as Ernie S. It's good to see you. Jane Bunker was with us for quite a while. And in the beginning, we had, let me scroll all the way back here. We had Chris Kinsey. It's good to see you. Man, Jim Valente popped in to say hello. It has been a
Very
great
cool.
show. Everybody, thank you so much. Ken, is there anything we didn't cover?
Yes. Yes. But again, like I said, there's so much to cover.
Ken.
You can't ask me that. Yes, but I think we hit on a whole lot of points
Yeah, I think so too.
that made the show productive and helped people out.
I think so too. I am writing to everybody. Thank you for tuning in. For our next show, we will be coming up later in the month, and we're going to do this link thing again. So if you want to join in, just join in. We won't be able to hear you right at first, but I'll see that you're there so that we can bring you into the broadcast. I think that was a whole lot of fun. And I want to say thank you to our friend and author, Jim Valente, for doing that. And
Yes,
if you would like to continue to ask questions, we will always pop you in, just like Michael Schwartz right here. Good evening to you as well. So thank you so much. Tune in on Monday, so right after the weekend. I can't believe it's the weekend already. This was the week that felt like a decade. But on Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern, I will be back on. I will be back on with Ken Dodge at the end of the month, and we'll advertise that soon. But I will be back on with another author, Cyrus Alderwood, and we're doing the murder mystery evening, and we will be doing the Circleville letters. Really weird. Circleville, Ohio. There's a bus driver. There's a weird sign. It's going to be bizarre. So we're going to pick that apart and see what we can find in the Circleville letters mystery and eeriness. So I will see you on Monday at 9 p.m. Ken, please give us a bit of wisdom to take us through next week.
Absolutely, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, it was a pleasure to be here. God bless you. Thank you so much for tuning in. And please keep tuning into the Caffeinated Cooper Show. Look for her online. She has so much to offer you. She has so many avenues that she entertains. Look her up. Copy and paste her link. Share it with everybody. We appreciate you coming down here. No matter what you do, we love you. And we have your back. And believe in yourself, because we believe in you too.
Yes. Thank you so much, Ken. That was lovely. All right, everybody. Have a good evening. We will see you soon. Bye-bye.